Welcome back to the catch-up here on Cris Cyborg's YouTube channel. I am James Lynch. That is not Cris Cyborg. I'm happy to welcome on Bellator Bantamweight standout Raufeon Stots here as my co-host today. Raufeon, how's it going, man?
Man, going pretty good, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you here. We were just joking off air. It's been a bit since we've done an interview, but glad to get you on here. You've just been killing it in Bellator, so we'll definitely talk about what's going on with you in the Bellator Bantamweight division. But first, I wanted to remind our audience to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Always appreciate you guys supporting the show. And if you guys have any feedback, definitely hit me up on Twitter or leave a comment in the video section. But let's get to you, sir. It's great to talk to you and you know, sort of see you blossom in Bellator so far. How have things gone? Because, you know, you were a coveted fighter, I know, you know, from a lot of the big promotions, but you ended up going with Bellator. How have things been so far?
Man, I don't think they kind of went better, you know. I feel like I was, even though, like, when I was going through, you know, the different, where I wanted to make my choice to go, I felt like, but I feel like it all happened for a reason. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I'm happier, or I feel like I'm really happy where I'm at now, especially in Bellator.
Yeah, it's been great to see. We'll talk about kind of what's next in a second here, but we got to talk some news. We had the UFC card on the weekend, and it is Marvin Vettori getting the win over Jack Hermansson. What did you think of the card? It was pretty hard with COVID, but we were still given a pretty solid main event with Vettori getting the W.
Man, COVID's been tearing up these cards, man. It's crazy to see, you know. It's also awesome to see, like, people, you know, fighting up or stepping up and fighting up and giving big opportunities, you know. I feel like that's one of the reasons MMA is so great, you know. You know, we were looking forward to the Trailblazer. I think what's his real name?
Yeah, Kevin Holland. He's fighting.
Holland.
He's fighting next week, I think.
Yeah, Kevin Holland. I was looking forward to Kevin Holland and the Joker or Jack Hermansson. But I mean, that fight was it was another nail biter, and it was, you know, a bloodbath, and it was a sick fight. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he's doing against Jacare, which is like a huge test, you know. Yeah, that's exciting. It's exciting stuff. And the whole card turned out to be like amazing, like a bunch of crazy finishes, big knockouts, big submissions, a slam knockout, you know. It was pretty awesome card.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I just interviewed Louis Smolka today, and he got a TKO finish on the card. And we were talking about fighters that had, like, you know, talked about his win. And he said he saw your comment, and he said it meant so much to him because he didn't know that so many fighters were watching his fight. So he thought that was cool that I guess you commented on a video or something. I forget what it was.
He saw my comment?
Yeah, he did. He was so happy about it. He's like, I can't believe Raufeon Stots saw that. Like, he knows who you are. So
yeah, I've seen it, man. He's a beast, bro. I'm watching. I'm always watching, you know, as much as I can, you know. I'm not like an avid watcher. I don't have to watch but I'm trying to, you know, peep out and, you know, see who's all improving, see what things I can add to my game. So, you know, Smolka is definitely one of those guys that is a different fighter since he's made his second stint in the UFC, you know, and that's exciting to see, you know. He decided to whatever he changed in his training, or, you know, whatever it was he changed, he's definitely performing a lot better than his first run.
Now, we don't have all the solutions to solve all the world's problems here on today's show with COVID and everything, but you mentioned it there. I mean, the cards have been hit really hard. Even at the time we're recording this, UFC 256 this Saturday has already lost, I think, 4 fights. What do they do in this situation? Do you have backup fighters? Do you do less cards? Like, what can the UFC do? Because they're really getting hit hard. They've been lucky, actually, that none of the main events have really been, like, too badly, you know, messed up. Like the Vettori-Hermansson fight, for example, was a good replacement. But is there anything they can do? Is there anything as a fighter you think they could improve on to try and make sure that these fights don't keep falling out?
Man, I don't even know, you know. That's a good question, you know.
I know. Put
everybody in bubbles. I don't know what they... You know, what they could do better, you know. I mean, it's crazy to see how many, you know, are affected, and how, I mean, this disease is, you know, unlike anything we've ever seen, you know, in the world. So I guess we're still in a pandemic, you know, even though it kind of seems like we've been in this situation for a long time. I think just, you know, one step at a time, kind of how they're doing, you know. I feel like that. I mean, that's what the Bellator is doing. The Bellator have been hit as badly, but I feel like they do test before, you know, and they do test. They maybe do a little more extensive testing.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
And they're doing less cards. I think that's a key. Is that I think and I've said this for a while. I think the UFC does too many cards. I think trying to do a card every weekend in this pandemic is crazy, and that's why you're getting so many tests. And that's why Bellator, they've had some cancellations, but not as bad as UFC because they're just not doing cards every week. So that's I think another reason. I think they got to scale back, but then they got the ESPN deal, so I guess you can't do much, right? So
yeah, exactly. I think they're in a tough spot, But I mean, they're doing their best with what they can do. So, props to them for that.
For sure. And they've got some competition now. This is the second weekend in a row that we just had where boxing was the bigger deal, I think, than the UFC. We had Tyson Jones the weekend before.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had Spence and Garcia this past weekend, which was just a phenomenal fight. For those who didn't see it, Errol Spence coming back from that car accident, getting the win over Danny Garcia, who, I know Garcia had some losses, but that was still a pretty impressive victory. And
he's only had 2 losses. I mean, that's his third loss. I think he want to say like over 60% KO rate, and he's fought some of the best, Danny Garcia. So
yeah,
that was
and boxing's been in the news right now, Raufeon. I mean, we had that fight, and then also we got this Floyd Mayweather and Jake Paul thing. Like, I don't mind the YouTubers,
crazy.
I know
that is crazy. It's crazy to see. It's just insane, man. I mean, if you think about a sport, never do you see, in different sports like football, you won't ever see somebody just coming off this. I mean, pretty much not. I mean, he's had some professional spots, but it's mostly his notoriety that's like getting him a high ranking professional fight. In a fight with Floyd Mayweather. It's just insane, It's insane.
But it's the 2020 celebrity boxing. Like, we used to have this in the 90s. I think one of the highest rated shows on Fox ever was like a celebrity fight between Joey Buttafuoco and China. I mean, think about that. So I think
want to see, though. They just want to see crazy stuff. That's true. I mean, that's what people pay to see. I mean, our MMA, our sport is. I mean, every sport is entertainment. So the more that they can be in it, or the fans can be entertained, I shouldn't be, surprised. It's just so surprising to me. It's so surprising.
Well, and it's fighting as well. It sort of adds a little bit more intrigue. Like, if a celebrity went to go play in a golf tournament, no one's going to care as much, right, as far as individual sports go. But if they're boxing each other, then that obviously has an intrigue, because it's like, who's going to lose, right?
That's true. Somebody's going to lose. That's true.
No, for sure. Yeah. But let's talk about you, man. I talked about, obviously a lot of success going on in Bellator. Your last win, Keith Lee, great performance. Keith's an up-and-comer, a guy that's, really been making his mark in Bellator as well. How happy were you with that performance? Because, again, Keith's got that last name, obviously, being Kevin Lee's younger brother.
Yeah, I said it before, some of the interviews. He was like not a stepping stone, but he was like he's got a little bit of a name, but, I mean, it's because of what he's done. It's not just because he's Kevin Lee's brother. He's undefeated in the Bellator, and same with my last opponent, Cass Bell. Everybody that I faced has not lost in the or since I've been in Bellator. So it was good to get that recognition from beating him. I like Keith a lot, to be honest. I think he's an amazing dude. I feel like we have some of the same morals, so I like him a lot. But yeah, it was good to beat a guy like Keith Lee that is kind of attached to Kevin Lee's name. I mean, he knows that. Everybody knows that. So hopefully it'll just kind of catapult me into some of those bigger fights with other guys that got named. Because other than maybe if you're fighting to be the best, there's not a lot of reasons to fight me. My name carries a lot of weight as far as like in the mixed martial arts community, like a lot of like if you really look at like who I fought and what I've done. But as far as like the rest of the everyday fans, like nobody really is checking me out. So it's good to if I can catapult myself into getting some of those fights where a lot of the casual fans know. I think that'll be a lot better for my career. But I can't complain where I'm at right now. I'm just super happy. But yeah, that's the goal going forward.
Yeah, it was a good win, and I'd actually say that you probably had more to lose in that fight than Keith did, because you had a couple fights in Bellator. You had this nice winning streak. Keith's lost a few fights, like prior to Bellator. So I think if he could have beat you, that would have been a big gain for him. So props to you for taking that, because that was the original opponent, right? It was Josh Hill. It was my understanding.
Yeah. Josh Hill was the original opponent, and then they they actually wanted me to fight somebody else, but they didn't have a visa.
Gotcha.
Or something.
International.
Joshua got hurt, and then they were like looking for other people.
Yeah, and Josh is someone I'm very familiar with. I've actually seen him fight live. When I used to live in Toronto, he used to, live pretty close to me. He used to fight on local promotions there. So Josh has been, I think, kind of like a secret weapon in terms of Canadian MMA because he's won a lot of fights. I think he just hasn't got the recognition because he doesn't knock guys out every fight.
Which is crazy to me too. Like he's like 20-3. I feel like.
And his 2 of his losses are to Marlon Moraes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Josh will be. I mean, that's another opponent. Hopefully, down the line, we can make that fight again. Hoping he's healthy. We're all also on the same management team. So
I was going to say the negotiations will be a bit easier because you guys are both managed by Sucker Punch.
Yeah,
right?
I'll just say, hey, Brian, hey, he want to fight? Give me his number. Hey, he trying to fight?
Yeah, no, it's a little bit easier there. But I was going to ask you that because I did see Josh had a tweet out there the other day that said he basically said that he wants to get another fight here soon. Is that something you'd be open to, even though you just beat Keith? Or
that's something I'd be very open to. I'm super open to. And the sooner the better for me. Granted, I would like to enjoy Christmas, but I don't have to enjoy Christmas. I'm only a fighter for so long, so. If Josh, and that's the other thing, I don't know if Bellator is waiting to schedule stuff till after the new year or anything, but I haven't seen any fighting announcements. I've heard word of some fights, like Sergio is supposed to be fighting here soon, and Manny's the tournament's going to be going here soon, but I don't know if they've scheduled anything for after the new year. So I mean, I'm open.
Well, we do have another Bellator card coming up here on Thursday. It's actually an interesting main event because we've got the flyweight champion, the women's flyweight champion, Ilim Macfarlane, taking on Julia Velasquez, who is undefeated. So actually, I don't know if you caught the betting lines. This is like the first time I can remember in a very long time that the odds were so even. What are you looking forward to in this fight? Because it's interesting. I think we finally have a challenger for Ilim Macfarlane who's looked unstoppable in the promotion.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. What's Velasquez?
Juliana Velasquez. I actually butchered it. I think I said Julia.
Juliana.
I meant Julia.
Juliana. How Juliana's takedown defense and her her striking matches up with Leliama. I don't know.
Alimale. Yeah, you had it backwards, but yeah.
Alimale. Oh. Yeah. Anyways,
it's all good. It's a tough one.
But yeah, I'm excited to see. I fought on the card. She's just so dominant. The Hawaiian. She's just so dominant. So I'm excited to see, how they match up on their feet.
Yeah, same here. I'd probably give a slight edge to Macfarlane just in terms of experience, but Velasquez is absolutely a threat, and I think that's a great main event for anyone going to be tuning in on CBS Sportsnet, like I said, this Thursday. The co-main event is actually an interesting fight I'm sure you're paying attention to. So we've got Magomed Magomedov, who's a teammate of Khabib Nurmagomedov, taking on Matheus Mattos. I think that's how you say it. Who are you liking in that fight? Because that's an interesting, really pivotal fight for your division.
Yeah, that's a super pivotal fight for our division. Magomedov, I feel like is coming in with a lot of, eyes on him, because he's teammates with Khabib. So I'm excited to see him perform. I've never actually watched a fight of him, but I see his record and I see who he's fought. I think he's the only guy who's beaten the current UFC champion. So that's a fight I hope I could get here down the line, and I'd be happy to fight. I want to say Magomedov has the advantage, but then again, I've never seen the Matthias.
Yeah, Matthias. Yeah, Mattos. I think is how you say.
Yeah, I haven't seen, but I've looked at his record. I play close attention to pretty much everyone that I could have a potential of fighting. I don't go and watch their fights, but I kind of look and see, who they beat and what I think their skill level is. So it looks like a pretty evenly matched. Both guys look tough. Both guys look, super tough and tested. And it's not like they've been built by anyone. They look good. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see, how it plays out.
You mentioned your teammate Sergio Pettis. I would think he's next for champion Juan Archuleta, who just won the belt over Patchy Mix. Is that kind of what you're hearing as well? And if so,
that's pretty much.
That kind of puts you in a weird spot because you guys are teammates. I'm assuming you guys would never fight each other.
Yeah, we're not going to fight each other, most likely. I mean, the only time we would fight each other if the belt was on the line. But I mean, it doesn't really change a lot for me. I feel like as of now, because I mean, there's tons of fight for me to fight in the bantamweight division. I've got my hands on it as many people as I want to get my hands on. So hopefully, best case scenario, Sergio wins the belt. Maybe he defends it against some of those other guys. I beat a couple of those guys. I clean out the division, and then I fight Sergio, and then we're 1-2.
There we go. We got the blueprint coming out here. Well, there could be some more fighters coming to Bellator, but two that won't are Yoel, Romero, and Anderson Silva. Bellator's come out this week and said, hey, look, we're not interested. Now, there could be a variety of reasons for that.
Maybe they're not interested in Yoel?
They said they're not interested in Yoel. But I understand it, and I'll tell you why. Because they've really made a point of signing fighters that are up and coming, guys that they can build on, not necessarily guys that just fought in the UFC. And I kind of like it. You're seeing guys like Brett Johns, who's in your division. You're seeing guys like Jeremy Kennedy, who won recently. They're not just going after sort of the name fighters here. So I understand it from that perspective. The other thing as well, I mean, I've been around this business a long time. If you say you're not interested in someone, it's kind of like when you say you don't like the girl and you say that just to, get her to like you. It might be kind of one of those things too. So we'll see. Yeah.
But I have noticed, there's definitely been a shift in the way Bellator is building, the way they're building. You can definitely tell a shift. There's a lot less, there used to be a time where you'd be like, okay, man, I'll go to the UFC, and then maybe if I don't make it to the UFC, I'll go to Bellator. But that's not the case anymore. They're not they're not a league to where they're looking for like a quick draw off of a name. They're actually building. They're going and they're finding top level talent, and they're putting the top level talent against each other. You know what I mean? I feel like they're doing it the right way to be like a serious competitor. They went out and got a CBS deal. They got a TV spot, and I just feel like they're only going up from here, and they're making all the right moves. So I'm happy I'm here. I'm happy I'm not here and not on the cusp of 60 cuts.
Getting replaced by Contender Series fighters. Yeah, it is pretty rough. I mean, they handed out 37 contracts on Contender Series, so that's a good chunk of those 60 that's getting out of there as well. Just cuts everywhere. One name I do think could come to Bellator, maybe. I don't know. I don't have any insight on this, but John Dodson. I mean, he came off a win in the UFC. He was a former title challenger. How would you like him in 135 in your weight class?
That'd be sick. That would be sick. He's super fast. I just want to get my hands on some of these people to see, where I'm at with them. But no, that'd be sick. That'd be sick if he came over.
Before I let you go here, any plans for the holidays? It's probably the last time we're going to talk before Christmas and all that. The family doing well? I know you got some, your dad and all that. Everything looking good?
Yeah, everything's looking good. I got my son. We're actually driving to Texas. It's about 16, 17 hour.
Wow.
Or maybe it's less than that. Maybe it's 14. 10 is, about 16.
It's a long ride. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot of Paw Patrol episodes you got to download for your.
Man, we got the iPad. We got a little hookup in the back. An iPad has been a lifesaver for me. A lifesaver, because we try to stay away from the iPad. Being like
same here.
I'm a good parent. I don't freaking do that stuff. But man, he'll sit and he'll watch a movie like 4 or 5 hours straight until he has to sleep or eat or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like on a drive. It's like, man, freaking thank you.
That's awesome. So, and before we go, speaking of parenting, just I don't know if he's watching this, but Gerald Mershot, congrats. I see he's going to be a dad here soon, so wanted to mention him as well. He's joining the Dad Club with the rest of us.
Papa G out here making babies. You know what I mean? Quarantine babies.
Exactly. Raufeon, this was awesome, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really want to thank you for coming on here. If you got anything you want to plug, any social media, any sponsors, anything like that, I'll give you the floor here.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Raufeon Stots, Raufeon Stots. I got some sponsors: Combat Corner, Perfect Sports, BB Roofing, J. Kurtz Painting, downtown on massage, and thanks for everyone who support me, and can't wait till I can get in the cage again.
And just want to remind my audience again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Cris will be back next week, so we'll be back to normal. But got to thank Raufeon, got to thank Emmanuel Sanchez, got to thank everyone else who's come on here and done the co-hosting duties here on the show. Julia Budd as well, for holding up the fort. It's been great over these last couple of weeks, but like I said, we will be back to normal. Follow me on Twitter at Lynch on Sports, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and girls for tuning in. It's always great to do this every Tuesday on the Catch Up. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great week.